There we go. Thank
Okay.
you, Renee. So yeah, as I said, my name is Adam, and good to be with you all. Renee is my compatriot here, a longtime member of the core faculty, and we're excited to be with you. We're gonna share a little bit about who we are at the Narrative Enneagram. We'll tell you a little bit about the programming that we're offering, kind of all the various levels, ways you could get involved. We're going to do a little demonstration of some of the ways that we teach. And then, of course, we want to make sure we answer questions that you all have. So uh, thanks again for being here. We want to start with just a little bit about who we are. So the Narrative Enneagram, we have some kind of specific distinctives. Before I jump into those, just we're an educational nonprofit. Our mission is around transforming lives and creating a more compassionate world. We were started in 1988. Our founders, Helen Palmer and Dr. David Daniels, kind of brought together some training that they were doing, and we've evolved a lot since then to now offer all that you're going to hear about today. But why the narrative? What are we offering? Let me just share a couple of words about each of these distinctives on the slides. First, that we center experience. You know, we offer the traditional as well as some exciting kind of innovative teaching around the Enneagram theories and the types and the system. And we really value your experience as a participant and hold it as authoritative. So we want to know, what's it like for you? Tell us. Illuminate the nuances, the intricacies of your type. Share with us. And often we find our understanding of the types are expanding. We're getting new insights. It's a really important part of the way that we offer our training is to bring your experience into the center and highlight what you know as authoritative. We do this primarily in our trainings through panel teachings, which you'll get a little bit of a taste of today. And it's just a process of you'll get to sit on a panel and tell about yourself and your type. You'll be asked some specific questions, and then you'll get to witness panels from other people as well to hear kind of from the inside of the type, what's it like. Self-discovery, we teach that Enneagram types are determined by your core motivation, which is inherently internal, right? We teach it's not primarily about your expressed behaviors because those can be impacted by all kinds of things, but we're really looking inside. What's the motivation? And because of that, you're the only one who can really ultimately know what your type is. And so, we don't type other people. We offer lots of support. We offer guidance, suggestions, maybe. But in the end, you are the only one who knows your core motivation. And so you'll be able to take that journey yourself and we try to meet people wherever they're coming from, whether they're discovering their type for the first time or they've known it for a long time and they're working with it. In kind of all cases, the work comes inside. And so there's a process of self-discovery here. Honoring diverse perspectives. We have a long-standing and deep commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging at the Narrative Enneagram. One of the ways that this shows up in our programming is through an invitation and sometimes even a challenge for our learners to consider the significant impacts that our cultural and social contexts have on both the way that we experience our own types and express them, and the way that the types are taught in our classroom environment together. We want to think about how our contexts are really impacting the way we're describing the types, the way we're describing and working with the whole system. And we do that because we want to be able to offer the Enneagram in the widest and broadest way possible so that the most people can access it and kind of say, I see myself in this type. I see myself in the way they're describing this. I recognize my path of growth in the way that growth is being described. So this has become a really beautiful part of our trainings, and it's opened up so much around what it means to kind of embody any of our types. Okay, appreciation of the types. So I started learning about the Enneagram just over 15 years ago, and at that point there was a lot of stereotype, a lot of focus on the problems that get generated from types, and I really appreciated the way that the narrative says, hey, all of our types are needed. We need everybody. We need all the perspectives. We each bring something unique and important, and we want to value those. Of course, there are challenges, but there's lots of strengths, and we want to make sure we're capturing those and remembering like we need all of us to see what's really here. And so that's part of the invitation is to let's recognize that our types are important. We want to have compassion for the ways that they're challenging, but not focused so that it's not focused all the way on what's hard. Group transformation, I did all of my training with the narrative on Zoom, and I was really pleasantly surprised to find that um, it was a powerfully transformative experience. And a lot of that was down to this sense of the group transformation distinctive. What happens is there's a field generated. There's something happens between participants and faculty that is just kind of colored by generosity and compassion and hey, we're in this together. And the way I describe it often is there's something meaningful about witnessing other people really meaningfully describe what it's like for them to live within the story of their type, the challenges, the gifts, the heartaches, and you get to witness that in this compassionate, generous way. But then also you get to sit on a panel and be witnessed as you share the joys and challenges of living within your type and be received in a generous and compassionate way. There's some kind of magic that happens, and it really opens up the transformative field. Like something can change. And that's an important part of the way the narrative offers trainings. This three-centered learning distinctive is really about like we're trying to engage you across your whole being. So you're going to get content. It's not so much a lecture, but you're going to get some information. But then there are practices, tools of how do I bring this inside? How do I recognize there's something going on in me? And then also what's going on in my body. I exist in this being as a whole thing. It's not just my mind, it's not just my heart, but we're here as an embodied person. And so we're going to bring that component in as well in the teaching. And then last, this path of growth. Renee is going to say much more about this in just a moment, but in general, we're bringing in the perspectives of psychology in the mind. We're using that approach. We're also using a spiritual approach and working with spirituality. Now, that's not a specific religious tradition. It's kind of the most broad sense of spirituality, and like humans are spiritual beings, and we're going to work in that field. And then there's this kind of bring it all together and integrate in the body, which we'll hear a little bit more about in just a moment. But that's the path of growth kind of covers all three areas. So those are just a couple quick words on why the narrative, what makes us distinct. And Renee's going to share a little bit for us about what we call the path of integration.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. That was great. I get so inspired listening to what we do, right? It's just like, yeah, we do those things and it's really impactful in people's lives. Um, so the path of integration, he was talking about the path of growth, but really our classes are really oriented around this path of integration. No matter what class you're in, which might have a more specific orientation to one of these sections, the psychological, the spiritual, the somatic. We really work with the wholeness of that. So the way we look at the path of integration and how transformation happens is, the Enneagram is at the top. Most of us enter the Enneagram through the psychological leg or the psychological line here. We start to get curious, right? About like, oh, like how come I'm in these repetitive patterns? Different day, maybe a little different scenario, but same issue, right? We want to start to understand what our habit of attention is. Where does attention get pulled? What are my needs? So the psychological leg really wants to help us develop flexibility and choice with our mental and emotional habits because we have these patterns and they're laid down in neural pathways, right? And so and they're there for a very good reason to help us survive, navigate the world. They keep things familiar, but they can keep things tight. Like I have to do X, Y, and Z to be okay. But we want to have more flexibility, more range of choice, right? So working with the psychological leg is really about this developing flexibility, developing choice, Oh, like I would typically do that. I want to sit back and pause, and maybe I want to make a different choice. We start to develop new neural pathways, and our worlds get bigger, basically. The spiritual line of development, again, and Adam said this, it's not any particular religious belief. It's just that we are connected to something greater, however you hold that. Some people just like, I'm part of the greater field of humanity. Some it's pure awareness, some it's God. It's just that the spiritual line really, and us working with it helps us to actually be able to be more receptive to that which is greater. Can I be present with what is, what's arising in my body, what's coming up in the moment? Can I actually be receptive and held in this larger field? So we do inner practices. There's an entire course, of course, on the spiritual line of development. But we want to like start to be aware that we have a type and we're more than a type. So we honor there goes the hand again. I need to turn those off because I talk with my hands. Um, anyway, I'm going to just really quickly lower my hand and try to keep them in my lap. Um, so we want to actually understand that we're held in a greater field and we're more than a type. And then finally, the somatic leg, which is hugely important because everything, we often think like the mental facility sits at the top, but it's really like we are getting so informed by what's arising in our body, right? So we want to be able to meet the sensations as they arise. That is where a lot of transformation happens, that we don't just kind of, even if we're not aware, have a particular somatic experience and go on a particular route, right? We want to, again, be able to meet those. And in meeting those, that really helps to develop new neural pathways too. And when you bring all these together, this is the transformational path. And I think it's unique to the narrative Enneagram that we focus on all three of these. And and then importantly, when Adam talked about group transformation, it's held in community. It is a very big deal to actually, I mean, over and over, people are kind of blown away by the capacity to be held with care, kindness, compassion, curiosity, understanding. When we come together, that field really, what can happen on a panel in like 10 or 15 minutes or less is kind of amazing. And that's because it's held in community. Okay, continuing on. So our foundational courses, this is where we kind of start our Enneagram journey, right? We have four foundational courses, and experiencing the narrative Enneagram is really the beginning, and it's a introduction to many of the other courses that we teach around the instinctual subtypes, around the defense system and engaging transformational growth, as well as the spiritual aspects in deepening spiritual awareness. But it's not, it's an introduction, but it's a dive. I just want to say that, right? It's like, well, I already know all the basics. It's like most people have not experienced the panel method to actually really go into these aspects. So this is a wonderful starting place. And then once you start that, you can continue on. We kind of suggest this order, which actually follows the legs. The instinctual subtypes really focuses a lot on the somatics. Engaging transformational growth really works a lot with the psychological line, and then deepening spiritual awareness with that line. So we suggest this order, but you can take them in any order. Once you've taken experiencing the narrative Enneagram, you can actually, move into whatever one of these courses might fit with your schedule or you're drawn to. So the upcoming dates for this first class, this portal class, Experiencing the Narrative Enneagram, November 7th to 9th, over a 3-day week. These are held like 8 to 4 on Pacific on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's one in January the 9th to 11th. And then we also offer the course over 6 weeks on Wednesdays for people that can't, that 3 days is prohibitive in some ways. So there's a 6 week course, and that's usually offered like 3 to 6:30 Pacific on a Wednesday for 6 weeks. So that's also an option um, to to join us. I also want to say that we're going to talk more about the professional training program, but that if you want to get in the professional certification program, which we'll have more information about soon, um, we encourage you to join in either November or March to actually complete these 4 courses prior to the next uh, professional certification cohort, which starts in May of 2026.
Renee, would you say something about the updated curriculum?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So about 3 years ago, we started, and we're pretty much completed, I think now, uh, updating our curriculum to make it more expansive. Um, Adam talked about honoring diverse perspectives to make it more accessible. So, a lot of the ways we present things, some of the terminology that we use, we've actually updated it from what has been traditionally, how it's traditionally been held. And a lot of that was much more in kind of, I would say, a Christian context. And it was more oriented to um, the population that mostly showed up, which were people that looked like me. So we made it more expansive, more accessible. We have reworked all of our classes. And I mean, I did the training originally in 1999 and 2000. And since then, it has gone through many renditions. But this last one, I think, is just pretty epic, in my opinion, about what you're receiving, um, and how it's relatable to you in your world, no matter where you come from. Is there something else you wanted to add, Adam?
No, that's great. I just wanted to make sure we capture there.
Yeah, thank
It's significant updates, and I found it to be really helpful and expansive as I've
you.
engaged
Yeah.
with it.
All the workbooks have been updated, the slides have been updated, which you, of course, get copies of all of that when you take the course.
All right. So
Okay.
a little bit of fun here.
Look at
We want to
that.
demonstrate what a panel might look like. So typically this is a handful of people, 3, 4, 5 people being interviewed by one of the faculty. Today, Renee and I are just going to do this with each other, and so you can just see what's it like a little bit. So I'll start by interviewing Renee. This is, each course has a different focus. And so the questions for the panelists are a little bit different. The questions I'm going to ask are really from our Experiencing the Narrative Enneagram training. So this is just some overall, and then Renee will ask a little bit more about engaging transformational growth type of questions. So this isn't like what you'd get all in one training, but a little sprinkling of what it might be like. Um, so I'm going to ask Renee. Yes, Renee.
And if you would like to just see the two of us primarily on the screen, if you go up to view on the upper right corner, that's where mine is. There's a multi-speaker view, and you can go there. And so we'll be more highlighted if you want that.
Yeah,
And if not, it's fine.
great. Thank you. Um, okay, so Renee, you lead with a type 2, which say for the group here. And can you tell us, how do you know you lead with type 2?
How do I know I don't lead with type 2 is the real question. Um, when I mean, it was 95 when I first heard a cassette tape of Helen around the twos. And I really thought someone had been following me around. This orientation I have to what other people feel and need, to having difficulty knowing what I'm really feeling and needing, even though I can be quite emotional. My attention is just drawn to other people. And like there's like these I talk about my antenna. I have antenna out that are just kind of always kind of sorting for other people and their experience. And it's just yeah, it's pivotal. And again, what I know now, through I didn't know then, but what I know now is that's really because being connected is so important to me.
Hmm.
Being loved, approved of, appreciated, but this sense of connection is really how I feel safe, right?
Yeah. 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 Can you tell us what is it what is it like when that connection feels a little unstable or not quite how you want it?
Right. So I'm glad to say it's better now. It's not done, but it's better now with a lot of work. Um, it's like what I would say initially, what I would notice is like, oh, like it feels wobbly. I would start to feel kind of panicky in
Mm,
my chest. There's kind of an urgent feeling, and it was mostly I want to reach out and do something to make sure the connection was okay, right?
yeah.
Whatever I needed to do that. And a lot of times it was just being nice, like not really tackling whatever might be discomforting, but just like getting reassurance for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, yeah. So I hear you describing this internal kind of emotional pattern that we've come to call separation distress for the type two. And it really is that like we're not connected in the way I feel we need to be connected. And so there's the panic is a word I use also. It's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But then I hear you reaching out of like, how do I fix that by recognizing, noticing what might be needed in the moment, what relational thing or what physical thing, and you can show up and offer that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and now I think about it because I think about some of the ways I tried to make sure it was okay, you know, and I will admit that sometimes it was manipulative on my part, right? Of just trying to do something, or maybe I would want to like make sure I did something nice for somebody. Like, oh, I've been thinking about you, and is everything okay with you? Like there was not a real, not always, but often not a real capacity for me to actually authentically share because I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew something was off and I needed to make it okay.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. And can you say a little bit about the process of articulating your own needs? It's related to what you were just saying, but what's that been like?
It was so hard to actually know what I needed, right? It was really, really difficult. And I've had to work somatically a lot, to
Mm,
slow down a lot, to pause, to go into my body, to try
yeah,
to start to figure out what am I feeling and what do I need, right? It's been a long process. So that information now has better neural pathways. So it
yeah,
comes up more easily. But before it was just off the screen. I'm fine. I don't need anything was a very authentic in the moment, consciously what I thought was true. I don't need anything. What do you need?
yeah, yeah. And there it is, right? I mean, that's the story of the type is your own needs don't even rise to your level of awareness because that doesn't suit the priority of meeting other people's needs, which is the strategy to get the love and belonging and
Right.
feel okay in yourself. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
again, to say that my type gives me a lot of gifts.
Yes.
Like, right? It's just like I am compassionate, I am generous, I am kind. I
Yeah.
can, it's just actually including myself,
Yeah.
right? Like more
Yeah.
directly versus hoping I'm going to get my needs met through the outside,
Yeah. Well,
right?
and it's like we always say, the gifts when we overdo them, they become challenges, right? So it's if it's overdone out there and we miss the bringing it inside to ourselves, it introduces some challenges.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like freeing the gifts. That's what I always like to say.
Yeah.
Working with your type structure actually frees the gifts,
Yeah.
right?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you. Thank you, Adam. So we'll shift and I will ask Adam, where's your question? Here it is. Okay. So Adam, what are you noticing using the Enneagram for growth? What have you noticed as you've over the last 15 years?
Yeah, thanks. So I lead with the type 4. And the one of the things that I noticed that the four has this story of like there's something kind of fundamentally lacking in me that means like I'm the problem when things aren't going right. And so I have noticed anytime I don't sense the connection that I'm wanting, whether it's a longtime friend or a family member, my attention immediately goes to what have I done, either too much of or not enough. Like there's some problem in the way that I have been. And then I elevate that to be like, this is the thing. It's me. I'm the one who causes the problem. And what I've learned is that, oh, that's a story I'm familiar with. And so when I start hearing, it's me, it's just a little flag of like, wait, 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 hold on, hold on. There's some nugget of truth there. You have a participation in this dynamic, but what else is true? That's been a helpful phrase for me. Like, what other dynamics might be here? Maybe, you're both just busy and you just haven't been in touch. That's
Yeah.
not a me problem. That's just a thing. And so I've noticed, and it's helped me slow down the immediate reaction, like you were describing, to like, okay, I need to figure out how to connect with them and I need to show up to them in some really meaningful way, which is also part of my type
Right.
4 thing. It I can just pause and say, what do I want? Do I want to reach out to this person? Is it okay if I do? Is it okay if I don't? Can I be more free to make a choice? What does it feel like in me, somatically, what's going on emotionally that I can just pause the automatic pattern.
And how did you get there? Like, what was the process like, Adam, of kind of as you described from the beginning, it's all you, right? To,
Yeah.
well, let's pause and what else might be going on here?
Yeah, I mean, the psychological line that you described was really helpful to have someone else say the words that were going on inside of me and go, "Oh my God, how do you know that?" And have them say, "Well, this is part of the pattern and it fits. Of course your type does this because it works in the whole, like it's a coherent strategy. So of course you're doing that." That to me was like a gift of, oh, I don't have to believe all these thoughts that come up. They're important, but I don't have to believe them as absolute truth. And I can bring some, I call in my work like some appropriate kind of curiosity or resistance to them. And so that's been the first process. And then I learned in my training of, can I just pause with the experience and just be with this feels really uncomfortable in my body emotionally. I'm very charged up and I got to go do something. And just giving it some time, some method of some, internal practices, some breathing practices to help regulate a little bit. And then I could make a clear decision about, well, what do I want to do now? And sometimes it was, yeah, I want to reach out and connect with that person. And other times it's like, oh, that's okay. I don't need to.
You've said this word twice, which I just want to highlight, which is so important in our training, is pause. Can you just say something about the impact of pausing as far as our growth goes?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it serves to um, turn a phrase that we've used and you've used is like, let's turn the lights on. When I can pause these automatic patterns that feel just, I have to do this, it's so compulsive. A pause just helps me turn the lights on and see, oh, I'm in the middle of something right now. Like there's something happening in me. And with that recognition comes a little bit of distance, like we teach is, oh, that's happening, but there's other things happening. There's another part of me that can recognize that and make some other types of decisions that might align a little bit better with the quality of presence that I want to have. And so there's um, it just opens up possibilities when in the pause, and there's all kinds of insights that might come and interesting things, but really it's like I take my foot off the gas and I can get my bearings a little bit to make a more conscious choice.
Yeah, beautiful. Great.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh,
Thank you.
that was so good
That was
to
fun.
be, yeah, to be part of this. So that's just a quick demonstration as Renee is going to pull up our slides again. A quick demonstration of the type of engagement that happens on panels. We do this in each of our foundational courses, really as a key way of teaching, and then we also it's a key part of how we train for folks who are certifying with us.
Okay, hang on. I gotta just start again here quickly. We will get to share. Okay.
All right. So we've mentioned a couple times about our certification process. Renee described our foundational courses that are the beginning. So you start with experiencing the narrative Enneagram, and you can mix and match how you do the next three courses. After you finish those four courses, if you want to certify and use the Enneagram in a professional setting and in a professional way, you can move into our certification process. We offer three different certifications that are a little bit stacked. So to complete the teacher and the practitioner certification, you will also go through the typing certification. A new thing that we've done in this last year is make the typing certification a standalone certification as well. What typing is a specific practice of interviewing folks to help them discover their type. So, like we said earlier, we don't tell people their type, but it's a really it's a really wonderful experience and exercise to go through to learn to interview people and take in their whole being and their responses and help narrow down to two or three options that might really be the home base for them. That's a whole certification process with training, and then there's coaching and practice. So there's like a practicum element of this where you're doing this and getting feedback. It's a really dynamic experience. The so everyone, if you want to do any certification, you do the typing certification. You can also do the teacher certification, which again includes the typing. The teacher certification is for folks who want to give seminars, who want to train others or teach others about the Enneagram. Sometimes this is in a community context, sometimes this is in a consulting context for organizations or businesses. In particular, with the narrative, you're learning the panel method of how do I run a panel and teach through helping a panelist describe the type. And it's a very dynamic process. You're also getting training on offering some, 20-minute kind of not lectures necessarily, but 20-minute like a talk about the Enneagram. Again, this comes with a uh, uh, what's the word? A practicum component. So there's real actual practice. You actually do this. You don't just talk about it and think about it. You're doing it live, getting coached feedback over a pretty significant process. Um, and then you can finish up your certification and be finished as a certified teacher in the Enneagram and the narrative tradition. The practitioner certification is different from the teacher certification, that this is for folks who are already doing client work in like a one-on-one context. So typically these are therapists, spiritual directors, coaches of some kind, but you already have your client work established. We're not training you to be a coach or a therapist or a spiritual director. You already have that established. And then we're training you to integrate the Enneagram and the narrative tradition into your work. And again, like the other certifications, there's a practicum process here. There's peer groups. There's real kind of collaborative learning, coaching as well through this whole process. This to finish these certifications each takes about a year, and you can do them concurrently. It's a lot. There's overlap of the practicum and so you could be doing a lot of things at the same time if you try to do that, and some people do. Typically, folks would do one of them. So that would be they do the typing and either stop and say, I want to be a typing certified professional and I'll just do that, or they would then continue on and either the teacher or practitioner complete that process, and then if they want to add the other one, maybe the next year they would come back and do the other certification. So you can hold all three certifications. It's a fair amount of work, but it's a wonderful process and a pretty well-rounded process. Let's see. After you graduate, it comes with a free professional membership for a year, so you can be part of the professional narrative Enneagram community. Um, so you already have to complete the foundational courses. Um, and I think I already said that about being a practitioner. Here's an overview of the costs. There's some more details on the website, and I think Pat might have a link she's going to drop in directly to that information. But you'll see if you decide to become a member with the Narrative Enneagram, which has some other benefits, you'll get a extra discounted rate for experiencing the Narrative Enneagram. That's again that first course that everyone takes. Otherwise, there's always an early bird option for our foundational courses that give you a little bit of a discount, and then the standard rate is $650 for each of those trainings. On the certification side, if you just want to do the typing certification, that is $26.95, and that includes your practicum. And so this is like this, that's what it would cost to add on the typing certification. Again, the teacher and practitioner certifications include the typing certification, and those both are $44.95. If you want to do both the teacher and the practitioner, which again would include the typing, that is $65.95. And we do have kind of payment plans available if that's supportive for you. We're happy to connect with you about that and find a way forward. And let's see, we do have some kind of scholarship and fellowship information that Renee is going to share about.
Yeah, so we have a newly established fellowship program, which really takes you through the whole process, the foundational courses, all the way through the professional certification process. It used to be like you applied for there are some rolling scholarships available as well. But this is like a way to actually, if you're committed to actually going through to get certified as a teacher or practitioner, and you do have financial need, we especially are interested in supporting folks that are from underrepresented or marginalized groups. You can apply for the fellowship program, which brings the cost down, I believe, instead of yeah, I don't know exactly what it comes down to, but it's less, and there's still a payment plan. So I won't even add that part. So this is something that's also on the website, and you can always contact our registrar. And applications are just reviewed on a rolling basis. So please, if money is a consideration, we really want to support you. Part of our goals is to actually support people that need some financial help. So there's that. Adam mentioned this, like some of the discounts. So we do have a community membership program. Pat, who's our Zoom host today, but she's really in charge of our membership program. And this is a community of Enneagram enthusiasts, a place you can actually come and join with other people. It's $75 a year, which is actually like that's pretty good price there for a year of membership. We have monthly gatherings, community gatherings, which are hosted by different faculty, different folks in the community. We do topics, panels. There's always an opportunity to actually meet with other people. They're an hour long, usually the third Thursday of the month. There's a new online members hub, so you can communicate and be in relationship and community with other members. And it really gives you these discounts that Adam started to mention on select programs, like $155 if you join off on experiencing the Narrative Enneagram. So right there, that's a good deal. And then we have, I'll talk more about this, everyday exploration courses, and you save $30 on there. And if you're a member, there are past recordings, all sorts of information from back through Helen, even that you can access through there. So it's really, it's a community that's growing strong and a way you can stay connected. A lot of people don't live in places where they have a lot of people to talk Enneagram with if you're learning the Enneagram. So it can really serve to join our membership program. So these monthly gatherings, community gatherings, are free for members. If you're not joining, but you want to come and just check it out first, $25 for non-members. And I think I said all that already because I'm ahead of myself on the slides. Everyday exploration are courses that apply the Enneagram into your life. And these are basically standalone courses, not part of our foundational programs, um, but they're a way to actually kind of study different things, right? Different aspects. Some of our, sometimes our faculty teaches these. People that are certified in our tradition teach these. They are really time and budget friendly. So typically for a 6-hour workshop, it's $125. Sometimes that's just on a Saturday, for instance, or it's over 4 weeks. Um, I know our executive director, who has quite a background. She's a certified teacher. Just taught a class that I was part of called Welcoming Wholeness, kind of looking at all these different spiritual traditions and how to integrate that. You're always welcome. We always record things so you can attend live, which I really suggest, but you can also watch the recording. And it's often focused on really practical application. So, for instance, tomorrow, actually, we are one of our certified teachers is offering building your Enneagram business. So that's for certified professionals, or if you actually are using your Enneagram, using the Enneagram in your business application. So that's an offering tomorrow. And again, you could join live um, or view the recording. So there are just different offerings we have. Um, I think this other one I want to mention, this would be if you're curious and not ready to jump into experiencing the narrative Enneagram, or you just want to get a jump start on starting the foundational program. Um, our teachers, Chichi Agoram and Terry Saraceno, are actually doing this kind of Enneagram 101, an introduction to the 9 types. Just two 1.5 hour courses, meetings. Um, the 21st and the 23rd. You'll get a free essential Enneagram test and a guide for joining that. And do I have cost here? Sorry, I'm going to slow down. Uh, that is free for members. If you're a member, you can attend this free, and $50 for non-members. So, and Terry Saraceno's, been teaching in the Narrative Enneagram, created the nonprofit, just one of our very skilled and seasoned teachers. And then you might know Chichi Agoram from her book, The Enneagram for Black Liberation, also part of our core faculty, both very skilled and expert teachers. So that's a great place to jump in as well. Okay, I think we're to the end, yes? Yes. Okay, so we're gonna open it up for questions. We have time for, any questions you might have. And then also, if you have further questions, please feel free to email our registrar at narrativeenneagram.org. Laura is amazing with the hospitality, happy to meet with you, talk with you, answer questions. And then, of course, you probably know our website, narrativeenneagram.org. So I will stop sharing.
Thanks, Renee. So if you have a question, you can raise your digital hand by pushing the React button at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can chat your question. If all else fails, you can wave your hands around and I can call on you. But happy to answer some questions. Or do we? Oh, yes, Don.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you.
Okay. I was wondering in the last thing you just talked about with Terry and Chi-Chi's Intro to the 9 Types, and it says it comes with a free guide and how do you access that? I'm having just a little bit of trouble, and I've been in touch with Laura, and she's been awesome with the site and certain parts and pieces of it. And I'm wondering about how to access the free test and guide. Can you do that as soon as you sign up? I'm signed up as a member, so I've been going to all the monthly things for about 4 months, and they're fantastic. Like there's 1 month was worth the cost of the year. It was so good. Um, is there a special thing I need to know about the site itself? Is that something I should direct to Laura?
My sense is that Laura is going to be able to give you the best information.
Okay.
Um, I I know that there's a like a My TNE link at the top right of the narrative
Yes,
enneagram, and you can log in there and should be able to access your test code.
I'm there and I can get everything. Like I can now access the replays. I've been going back and watching a lot of the older things, which are, such a gift, but I can't find where that one piece is, like a
Okay.
PDF of that. So
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
reach out to Laura.
Yeah. Check
Okay.
with Laura. She's going
Okay.
to be your best bet.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Hmm.
And maybe along with that, and Don might be familiar, but we have an online learning hub called Mighty Networks that we use in our community. So community members have access to that, and it's full of resources. That's where your recordings will go. When if you take a course, that's where all of the resources and materials will be housed. And so you've got a place online that it kind of holds it all together. It's been a really wonderful addition. Um, yeah. Pat, I saw you raise your hand. Did you want to add something?
Well, I was just going to say that anybody can get the guide. It's on the website. You can click into Get Free Guide. That's the original first guide that's been, you know, says a little bit about each of the types. And when you do register for that course, you'll have Laura will, include the links for those things that you asked about.
Thanks, Pat. What else? Other questions?
I'm just noticing that we have two people that have been through our training program, Magdalena and Marianne. And I just wondered if there's anything you want to add about your experience so far.
I can start. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's a great course and it's a great experience, and I've learned so much. Great teachers as well. And the reason why I joined is just because I'm doing the typing course, and I will soon do the exam. So I just needed to hear once again, the narrative tradition being told by you. So that's why I joined.
I was wondering. Well,
Yes.
all the best on your final typing
Yeah.
interview. Yeah.
Okay, I can say the same. I am really amazed about this program, and I will be finished that deepening spiritual awareness soon. And 2026, I would like to join for the certification option, but I still looking for good direction. And would you like say a little more about the certification option? Because if I pick up to be a teacher, okay, so this is the typing certification is including, correct?
Yes.
And we paying about 4,000.
And that includes both the typing and the teaching certification process.
Together. If somebody wants to do a practitioner can join for the 2027 probably. Okay, and what price will be this when somebody finished typing certification teacher and somebody say, oh, I would like to jump to the practitioner.
Yes. Yeah, so you only pay the additional difference. I think it's 2,000 some. I don't know the math right off the top of my head, but um, the around 4,000 is for one of them. If you did both of them, the total is about 6,000. So you'd add about $2,000 roughly. I don't know the exact numbers.
And that's the class, it's the supervision group, or if you're in the teacher track, the coaching, you're part of a cohort. So not only are you meeting individually, but you're in a small group. You're doing that now. No. Marianne is doing that.
Mariana,
Being
Mariana. Yeah.
in a small group, so it covers all of the costs of that your coach gets paid, and your final typing interview or your final panel interview or your final paper if you're a practitioner. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we, when we started the process on May 2026, the certification process will be finished the end of December 2026 or next 2027.
Yeah, because what you do is the typing process happens in May, and then either the practitioner track or the teacher track classes in December.
Right.
So you do that one practicum in those months, and then you do the second practicum after the teacher or the practitioner track. And then there is a graduation ceremony during the summer, but usually you finish up by May or June of that year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Mhm.
would be 27.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Mhm.
Any other questions? And that's okay if not. Well, I can give us just a final word here and say thank you for your presence. Thanks for showing up and hearing about our programming. I'm going to pull up a quote that I have that I just closed. There it is. That I want to share from Dr. David Daniels, who's one of our founders. They just kind of captures a little bit of who we are and what we're trying to do. And here it is. So this will be just our final word. May we open our hearts to ourselves and to others. And this is my hope for a more loving, peaceful, compassionate existence for all. That's from Dr. David Daniels, one of the founders of the Narrative Enneagram. So thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate your time and your questions. Again, you'll get a recording of this, and please reach out to Laura, our registrar, if you have any other questions. And we'll hopefully see you down the road in some of our programming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, you all.
Bye. Good to see some familiar faces and new faces. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.